Hey, what's up, guys? Got another video for you. This is Tuned In Sports. We're back with a reaction to tonight's UFC fight night, Covington versus Woodley. My name is Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
I'm done.
And we got the usual crew in here tonight. We just finished watching, like I said before, the fight night for UFC. Overall, a lot of good fights on the night, a lot of entertaining matchups. Some people that I'd never heard of or seen before, and other familiar names. It's nice to get like a couple of veterans in there, as well as a couple of upcoming, good fighters and stuff like that. So yeah, overall it was a pretty good fight night, and I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, you can't name a fight I didn't really enjoy tonight. I just overall enjoyed the card. I thought it was very good. A lot of close fights. Just was overall just great.
Yep, including the prelims too.
Yeah, I thought it was just very good.
Yeah. On the subject of the prelims, there was some pretty interesting fights on there. A lot of people, as expected, a lot of people that I had never really heard of before. But what I will say is one thing that really left a stain on me was Jessica Rose Clark versus Sarah Alpar.
Too, apparently.
Yeah, that fight.
Oh, man. They're going to be, they might want to get one of those pool cleaners
yeah,
for
maybe
that.
A facial reconstruction surgery or something going forward.
No, it's not going to be just one. That's going to be quite a few. And unfortunately for her, she's getting married in 3 weeks. I don't know what those wedding photos are going to be looking like, but
a little rough.
What I will say is you could probably hire just about any photographer, and it's going to look about the same.
Yeah. We do have Photoshop these days and all that other stuff with it, so we can do a little touch-up.
Yeah, exactly.
In the event.
Instead of using cameras, they should just use their phones, I think.
Yeah.
It'll help with the editing a little better.
Yeah.
But, that was just a disgusting fight. Very controversial in terms of whether it should have been stopped. They had they at first thought maybe it was an illegal strike, so they stopped the fight, but I guess the referee never actually stopped it. And then, so after they were like cleaning up, reviewed the tape, found out it wasn't a illegal strike, then they kept it going, which, definitely a controversial decision. A lot of people, or at least some of the announcers, were saying they didn't agree with it. Some of them were kind of impartial. Whichever way you look at it, that one chick got her butt pounded, and it only continued after the fight was resumed. So I don't know. Any way you slice it, that chick really just took probably some unnecessary damage tonight.
Yeah, it should have been a Rocky, IV moment. Throw the damn towel, because that would have been.
I was gonna say.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, as much as they maybe want to criticize the referee. Yeah. Look at the corner people. They should have stepped in.
Take care of it.
I mean, come on, dude. You got your fighter's nose is all over her face. She's got her nose up here and her eyes over here. And I mean,
that happened again last month, with the other fighter too.
Anthony Smith.
Yeah, that was like
Lionheart.
rearrangement. And it was like, no, just call it. He doesn't need to take this punishment.
No, exactly.
Not worth it.
You're just piling up the doctor bills.
Yeah.
So overall, again, the prelims, I also like the Bektic, I don't know how to say his name, versus Jackson fight, an entertaining fight between two grapplers. I thought just a really fun fight to watch overall. Just two guys that were constantly, doing position changes on each other and stuff like that.
I also thought the main event for the prelims was pretty good. Jordan Espinosa and David Dvorak.
They're going to be calling Jordan Espinosa peg leg tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's going to be hobbling all over the place.
Yeah, I know.
Call him kickstand.
Kickstand.
Yeah. Man, after like one or two kicks, he was already feeling it.
Yeah.
It was like...
That dude,
wow.
Yeah, that dude, he won't be walking tomorrow, I can assure you that one. He took some damage.
Yeah, definitely.
But moving on to the main card, I definitely think that the Holland and Stewart fight was pretty good. I think, obviously it came down to a decision, which in some respects you'd rather just see somebody be the decisive winner. But I do think they got the decision right. I felt like Holland was just a little bit better. The other guy had his moments, but I did think overall that Holland was the better fighter.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that Kevin Holland just overall was landing more punches, was a little bit more aggressive.
Yep.
So, I mean, definitely agree with that decision.
I will say Darren Stewart looks like a freaking tank, though. I mean,
that
dude
huge.
is like, whoa, does he have a neck? You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, crazy.
Yeah, he's a big boy for
He
sure.
is a specimen.
Man, just to touch on the Mackenzie Dern fight, man, I thought she looked pretty impressive. Was able to get the arm bar to win the fight. Thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought myself that I was most impressed by her the whole night.
Yeah.
Just because of her jiu-jitsu technique.
Dude.
She was just able
she's pretty
to.
impressive,
Seemed like
man.
she was like very calm, collective, and just methodical.
Dude.
And it was just almost like anaconda with a prey. It was just taking its time and just eventually just strangling it out per se. That's going with it because she just had so many ways to just shift herself into the right position to take care of to Marcos, because it was just unbelievable. I think she put the performance on tonight.
I'll say one thing though. I was really surprised how long Marcos was able to last during the armbar, because
I know she had
got put in it like 3 times.
Yeah.
She had her arm bent multiple different ways for minutes.
Yeah.
And
I
she's
know.
just like, oh, okay, we'll just move around here. It's like,
I was pretty impressed.
that was impressive, but I agree. Mackenzie, that was definitely, some of the fights that you watch, you're like, oh, okay, that was kind of good, but I couldn't tell you anything about him. I just like, oh yeah, that person won and they did well, but I couldn't really tell you much. But watching Mackenzie fight, I mean, that was a clinic.
Yep.
Just everything that she did, moves and counter moves. She was always one step ahead. Every time the other girl tried to do something, she was there already ahead of her, ready on to the next thing. And it was just really impressive, especially the ending submission sequence. Mm-hmm. She kept moving around, and the announcers kept on talking about how she was going for like 3 different things, and every time one would get broken up, she'd move on to the next, and then she'd have to work her way out of that, and by the time she worked her way out of that, it was already into the next submission attempt. Yep. I mean, it's just amazing.
She definitely made herself stand out tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, moving into the next one, Ryan Spann and Johnny Walker.
Oh my goodness, may I just say that fight was insane.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan Spann's gonna remember much about it. To be honest,
dude. Honestly, though, I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if Ryan Spann knocked him out. Because
he did a couple times. He flattened the guy, and it's just like some of those times you just
he was like Johnny Walker. I mean, he was out. If you take enough of it, you're going to be out. But all of a sudden, he was able to get that momentum swing, and then when it swung, and the next thing it was elbows and hammers, and it was over.
Exactly.
Well, the part about it that I didn't understand is like, he saw the elbows coming. He could have just backed out.
Well, he wasn't 100% there.
Yeah, that's true too.
So he just was kind of like.
I was kind of like.
He was just kind of like dandelions and rainbows and unicorns and blah blah. What am I having for dinner tonight? That kind of stuff. He was a million miles away. Moving on to our next fight. Me clearing my throat right there lasted longer than it. I'm not even gonna try to say their names, but Chimev and Mearshart.
We'll just call it Hazmat and Gerald.
It's
almost like Hazmat, but I don't want to. He's Swedish. So.
Kamzat and Gerald. That was, like I said, I mean, it happened so fast. I was looking down at my phone, and then all of a sudden I hear the announcer say, "And that's it."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What?
I didn't even watch the fight because I was doing something else during it.
Well,
And it ended right when I came out.
well, if you blinked, you missed it.
Yeah, it was just
basically.
one punch on the button.
And that was a solid punch. I mean, that guy fell like a freaking elevator.
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
down.
This Kazmat, dude, I mean, whatever his name is, he's pretty serious.
The dude Gerald fought.
Yeah,
He did really well.
The Swede.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
fought multiple people like these last couple months.
Yep. And one thing I will say about him is, like he said, he's fought multiple people, and I think that's really important for him to take advantage of the COVID thing going on. Because again, like we talk about with other things, this is an opportunity when everybody's kind of at home, quarantine and stuff like that, for more people to tune in and be exposed to more people that maybe otherwise wouldn't watch, because more people are spending more time at home than they're used to, and he's taking advantage of that and saying, hey, there's a lot of people right now that won't fight because of the COVID thing, and he's not only earning respect, but he's
undefeated.
He's undefeated. He's earning the respect of the executives because he's like, throw me in there, and that kind of fighter is what the company wants.
I don't know what was going on with his lip before the fight, but it looked like he was still trying to recover from his last one.
It probably was.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
It said something about he has the most wins in a period of time of anybody. I think he had 3 wins in the last 66 days. So, I mean, literally,
he's just insane.
A fight a month, essentially. And that's, like I said, you gotta, in a time like this, especially if you're not a well-known guy and you're from another country and stuff, I think that's really important to, like, hey, if you have not heard of me, you've heard of me now, because I'm in here every single week, and that's just great. That's great marketing too for him. I'm sure, I don't know what that will translate to here in America, but I'm sure in his home country, he's probably becoming a star, right up there with Khabib. I don't know if they're from the same country or not, but
I know, because usually Sweden's hockey and skiing. So.
But like I said, me clearing my throat lasted longer than this fight. It was 17 seconds. So pretty entertaining nonetheless. I mean,
good performance for Khamzat.
Yeah, Khamzat, exactly. Moving on to the next one, Cowboy Cerrone took on Nico Price. And it ended up coming to a draw. Like I mentioned before, obviously you never really like to see these fights have to come down to the cards. Just because you'd like to see a decisive winner without leaving it into the hands of the judges and whatever they might want or whatever agenda they may have. But with that being said, I do believe the judges definitely got this one right. I believe that Nico Price won 2 rounds and Cerrone won 1, but one of the rounds that Nico Price won, he got a point deducted for the eye poking. And so when you look at that, then you say, okay, Cerrone won 1, Nico won 1, and then the other one was a tie because of the eye poke, because Nico definitely won the round, but it wasn't a 10-8 round, or 29-20, or however 10-8 round. So I definitely think that equals a tie. I don't like to generally see fights come to draws. You'd like to leave there with a decisive winner, but I definitely don't fault them for making that decision.
I want to say one thing. I was pretty impressed by Nico Price's striking ability. I thought he looked pretty good with the punches and.
Yep, Cerrone wasn't blocking too much outside of his face.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, I thought myself that he was going to come to the defense of the Three Stooges defense, where it's just like, hey, Mo, and that way he wouldn't get poked in the eye anymore. Exactly. That's on there. So I mean, it was just crazy, how it went that way. But again,
exactly,
entertainment.
Yeah,
very very entertaining.
I was going to say, some of these guys that you look at and you say, wow. This guy leaks every time he fights. He doesn't have very good defense. And I'm not saying that's the case with these guys, but just, your Nate Diaz's, your Nick Diaz's, people like that are just, they cut easily and they're not defending much, and they're just taking shots. Even Doohoo Choi, there's another one where the dude can take a punch, and therefore he makes for entertaining fights because he can get rocked, and he just keeps going, and people like to watch that. They want to see them slug it out. The technical, oh, look at how precise and all this other stuff. A lot of people could care less about that. Now, there's some people that either are boxers or are fighters themselves who really want to see that aspect of it. But for a lot of people, they want to see some dude get flattened.
Well, yeah, it's part of the gladiator in the arena, thing.
Exactly. They want to see some guy bleeding and somebody get knocked out. They don't want to see, just two guys kind of sparring with each other.
Yeah. Are you not entertained?
Exactly.
Right? Usually the way it goes. Right?
Exactly. So, but overall, good fight. Very entertaining, both of them said. And I actually had never heard of Nico Price before. I try to watch UFC. We collectively try to watch UFC frequently, and we see a lot of the pay-per-views. But sometimes on the week-to-week events, depending on what we have going on, it just and there's a bunch of other sports going on at the same time. It's hard to, stay up to date with it. So I'd never heard of Nico Price, but my dad is actually a huge Cowboy Cerrone fan. And Cowboy's been around for quite a long time. So it was good to see him in there for sure.
Yeah, I was honestly kind of hoping he would get a win tonight.
Yeah, me too. But things
know.
happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then with that being said, let's move on to the main event. Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley. Definitely a pretty insane fight. Well, at least for Colby. Tyron just kind of looked like he has the last couple fights where he's there, but he doesn't look like the pound for pound best fighter in the UFC that people were hyping up back when he was champion. I definitely think Tyron is one of the better fighters, but these last 2-3 fights that he's had against I think it was Usman, Gilbert Burns, and then tonight against Covington, he just looks like either he didn't really game plan very well, or maybe his strategy or his style of fighting doesn't match up with those guys very well.
Yeah.
Because he definitely, just kind of looked outmatched, especially in the Gilbert Burns one and the one before that, the Usman one. Those guys just knew. And especially the Covington fight tonight, I just feel like once Usman beat him, the other guys just watched the tape and said, "Oh, this is what we have to do," and then they just did it. Because what happened in the Usman fight was he said, "Yeah, you could probably knock me out pretty easily, so I'm just going to keep you against the cage the whole time." Same with Gilbert Burns. It was the same thing, up against the cage, trying to take him down the whole fight. And pretty much same thing tonight. Majority of the fight was spent in the clinch. And I just think with that being the case, I don't know if that's an area that he struggles. I don't necessarily think he struggles, but just something about these last couple of fights, people are taking advantage of that aspect of his game, and it's resulting in him losing.
Yeah. I honestly kind of wonder what exactly happened because, his ribs, he had a rib problem.
At the end.
Yeah.
Well, the number of body kicks and crazy shots to the stomach and stuff he was taking, I'm surprised it took that long. Because Covington nailed a number of body kicks that just looked and sounded just horrible.
Yeah, these two didn't like each other going into the fight either. So I was expecting it to be pretty entertaining, to say the least. And it definitely lived up to it. It was entertaining. I think.
Yeah, it was to a point, right? I think with Covington, it was just eventually just a methodical beatdown.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it was just pretty much just AKA chopping wood. So eventually, if you keep chopping, the tree's gonna fall.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I saw with it. So
Exactly.
it took to 5 rounds, but to me, it was just.
It was kind of a one-sided fight.
It was just inevitable that the outcome what it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I definitely think Covington, he obviously not the most popular guy in the UFC for a variety of different reasons. Just the way he conducts himself and stuff is not necessarily something that a lot of people like. But with that being said, take what he does outside of the octagon out of it and just look at him inside the squared circle or whatever you want to call it, inside the octagon. Mm-hmm. He's one of the better people I've watched. I mean, every fight that I've watched of his, I've been thoroughly impressed with the guy.
He's a proper number 12.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's pretty impressive, man.
Exactly. And honestly, I mean, I think if he would just clean up some of the stuff outside of the octagon, I mean, I understand there's something to be said for not being somebody other than you are, but at the same time, you are a professional. If he could do some of that, I definitely think that he could be one of those fighters that is, got a brand and everything else. I think he could really be a face of the sport because he's got all the tools. Even in the Usman fight, he lost, but he definitely fought a good fight, and tonight he looked great. So I've definitely been very impressed by Colby every time that I've watched him fight, and I think he's gonna do big things in the future. Don't be surprised by him being in the title picture for quite a long time, whether that be in the welterweight division or he moves up or moves down. I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Oh yeah, I would agree. I think he's pretty serious, that guy.
Yeah. So with that being said, guys, that's about it for UFC Fight Night, Covington versus Woodley. Like I said, great night of fights overall, very entertaining to watch. And we're looking forward to UFC 253 next weekend with Adesanya and Paulo Costa. Those are just two monstrous dudes, undefeated, powerhouses. And I can't wait to see them lock horns. And it's highly anticipated, as well as, Dominic Reyes and John Blachowicz. I don't know how to pronounce his name either, but I do know who he is, and he's definitely a good fighter, and I'm excited to see that fight for sure. And we'll hopefully be able to get you guys our reactions to that one as well, because we're definitely going to watch that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, any final thoughts, Bennett?
I'm just really excited for next week.
Yeah.
It was a good round of fights tonight, and I think next week's going to be just as good or better.
Yep, absolutely.
Nothing really. Just wait for another week.
Yep. Only thing I got to say is thoughts and prayers out to Alpar, and hopefully her nose ain't ruined forever, because that just looked just horrible. And the fact that they kept that fight going.
I'm not saying this will happen, but I'm hoping that maybe her nose will look at least somewhat normal going to the wedding in 3 weeks.
Yeah, hopefully, again, with her wedding coming up, kind of bad timing for that all to happen, but she knew that was a possibility when she took the fight. So, hey, she must not be too concerned about it, and, props to her for doing that. So, again, great night of fights. Really enjoyed myself watching it. As per usual with UFC, it's just great to be able to watch fights, and especially with COVID and everything going on, at some points we didn't know what was going to be able to be happening, and the fact that we've been able to watch UFC consistently for the last handful of months has been great. I've really enjoyed watching it and getting caught up on it. It's different without the fans, but in some respects I feel like it's different in a good way. because without all the fan noise and stuff, you can really hear the shots. You can hear the corner people a lot better, which I feel like adds
different aspect to it.
It adds a different aspect, and I think it adds some value from the listener's perspective, just hearing like, oh, the corners are saying this. Is she doing it? You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like, oh, well, the announcers are telling us, but we wouldn't know because we can't hear.
What we're hearing from the announcers might be totally different than what's going on in the corner.
Yeah. So with that being said, I just think it's kind of cool hearing the corner people talking to the fighters and stuff like that. It definitely adds an interesting perspective. So with that being said, guys, this has been Tuned In Sports. Thank you guys for checking us out. We got more content coming throughout the coming weeks or the coming week with a variety of different topics. And we just can't wait to bring out more content and just keep talking sports with you guys. So with that being said, my name is Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
I'm done.
And we will see you guys in the next video.
Stay safe.
Peace.